situation that I'm going to unpack for you is being reflected back to me in my clients' lives, and it's something that I'm experiencing. So I was thinking, well, if we're experiencing it, then I know there's going to be loads of women who are currently feeling the same. And this is going to be so helpful because it's this perspective shift that makes such a difference when you are calling in these high cash, consistent months. You want to be the mum that has it all instead of the mum that's doing it all. And right now, you're thinking that it's just some long, distant dream that you feel like you are running on fumes to try and make happen. So if you can relate, stay until the end. I am so excited to share this with you. Okay, so I love to bring you behind the scenes and just be real, because I feel like we can all relate to when we hear stories of people going through something. We can make it relevant to how we feel, and it just makes us feel like we're not alone, like we're not going through the struggle on our own. We're not the only ones experiencing how we feel in this moment. So I am very vulnerable in my podcast episodes, so if you are new here, just going to preface that, and if you're not, then you already know, so let's get into it. So obviously last week it was a 9/9 portal, and for those of you that don't know, and like I don't know so much about it. I am not an astrology girl. I know obviously bits of star signs, I know human design, and I know what certain things mean, but I don't go diving deep into it. I just know that it was a lunar eclipse followed by the 999 portal, which is the end of cycles. And I experienced my cycle 5 days early, and also the month prior it was also early. So I knew that my body is preparing to also release in that same week. And I have done a previous episode on why we need to cycle sync to understand what we're letting go of, how we can actually use our energy wisely, and how we can use our energy and cycle in unison with our business to actually gain momentum faster and let go of self-loathing and guilt when you feel like your energy is just not on top par and you want to slack off a little bit. But anyway, I'll link that podcast episode in the show notes below. But when we have a cycle, we're essentially being called to let go of what's no longer serving us. And the subconscious mind loves metaphors, it loves visuals. So you can, when you have that belief, you can connect the association really well. And also just pay attention at this time when you are on your cycle. You will know that you are feeling a little bit off it. You are feeling in a way in moods that you thought you'd overcome, in behavioral patterns, in moods that you thought you'd literally let go of, and you were no longer going to operate from that place. And this is not a space to be thinking, oh gosh, I'm here again, I've clearly not done the healing work. It's layered. So don't beat yourself up, but do honor yourself and see what's coming up in the moment. So for example, when my cycle came early, I was fine for the first 2 days. I was like, oh my days, my partner's working away, I'm on my own with the children, and I'm doing the school runs, serving my clients, building my online course in the background, joined a mastermind, all of these things. But that old pattern of overwhelm and frustration and feeling like I was behind was not there. So I was like, oh, this is incredible. This is growth. And then it hit me a few days later. And something that my client reflected back to me this morning, she's also on a cycle, and she last week was feeling incredible. And then this week, she feels like momentum is slowed in her business. She feels like the low-key frustration again. And she was like, why do I feel like I'm always going to be on this healing journey? And she's not the only one that thinks that. I used to think this and sometimes still question it. I'm like, why does it feel like I'm always working on myself? And the answer is because, for one, it's not that we have to keep healing in order to get what we want. We're already healed. We just have to decide and embody the higher version of that. If we keep acting from a place of misalignment to that of the goal. So, for example, we all have these big expansive visions for our business and for our lives. That's why we're here. That's why we are building this freedom-based business amongst motherhood, and that's why we have such a big desire to make this happen. But we actually slow ourselves down with subtle self-sabotage, and it's so subtle that we don't even realize until we've dropped off that higher timeline. So I'll give you an example. So when I first had my first 10K month, on the run up to that, when it felt so far away, I promised myself that I would celebrate by going horse riding. It's something that I used to do when I was younger, and it just felt like something that would really symbolize this new fresh line in the sand. I'd done it, and now it was just going to keep building on that momentum. But I didn't do it. And then I wanted to invest in so much skincare, like a whole new wardrobe. And then I decided, actually, I don't need that to make me feel any better. Like, I already feel worthy. I already feel great with what I've got. So I can just make use of what I've got. Now, you could say that that's being sensible, but then what was the intention behind it? Ultimately, I put it off because I told myself that I didn't need it right now. Underneath that, it was all about my lack of self-trust. It wasn't about the money. It wasn't about the time that doing those things would take. It was about the self-trust, my ability to follow through and hold conviction in my big desires. At that time, there were little things that lead to big desires materialized. Because if I can't keep my word to myself in the micro moments, how can I expect to hold conviction in my big desires? Our mind is always listening. And then that prompted me to think, like, these are the little broken promises that we make ourselves when we are so overwhelmed. And we think, okay, well, I'm launching my business right now. I am doing all of these things, so it's okay to not invest in myself. It's okay to not do that because I'm tired, because I'm doing my best already. And that's fine. We're acknowledging ourselves. But when we keep not catching the micro moments where fear quietly wins, this is what slows down our manifestation. And manifestation isn't just in the vision boards and the affirmations. It's literally in the daily choices, the tiny actions, the promises that we keep or we break. So what I want to dive deeper into today is that very topic. Why mums find it harder to manifest, so to speak. Why it feels like we're forever healing. Why it feels like momentum gets delayed or it's like a roller coaster. And how the hell we're going to move through it, because it doesn't have to be that hard. And I know that because I've experienced it so many times, but it's also so easy to drop off and get back up again. It's literally a timeline shift. And the more awareness that you have of this, the more you're going to catch yourself in the moment and you're going to be like, no, absolutely not. Like this morning, I had a turbulent morning. Amari didn't want to go to school. He was crying his eyes out. I had to take him to school anyway. And for those of you that know, I want to world school the boys. I'm working to make that happen from January because school doesn't feel aligned for the boys. Like, it just doesn't. And that's something I'm working on. So when I saw him so upset and he said, I just want to spend time with my parents. I just know school isn't for me. I don't enjoy it. My teachers aren't nice. All of the things. It pulled on my heartstrings. And I said, I am making sure that you don't have to go to school forever and we will find the alternative. But right now, I just need you to know that you can do this hard thing and I'll be with you at the end of the day to celebrate and then we'll go swimming. And when I got back from dropping him off, I still had Obi with me, and honestly I just felt like doing nothing. I had a call scheduled with one of my private clients at 10, so obviously couldn't do that. And my mum was coming round to look after Obi. So anyway, 10 minutes before the call, got on the call while I was prepping my energy, got on the call, and my client was basically reflecting back how I was feeling. Hence this podcast. And then after the call, I was not feeling like doing anything. After I'd recoded my client's belief, helped her get in the energy of, I just was not feeling the day. All of the things that I wanted to do, I just was not feeling it. And then that's when I caught myself. I was like, here you go. This is where the old identity tries to lock in and keeps me staying the same. So yes, I'm on my cycle. Yes, I don't feel great. Yes, I've had to go through the emotional roller coaster of feeling like I'm not letting my son down, but I've got the pressure of making this work for him even more so. But if I was to sit here and say, okay, so now, because I'm on my cycle, because I've had a turbulent morning, I get to just sit down and just be. I just get to relax. I could say that, and I have said that many times, but is that helping you? Is that helping me? Is that helping Amari, Obi? Is that helping my clients? No. So choosing to get my energy in fact, here you go. This is exactly what I do, and this is what's going to be broken down in my upcoming course. But to get my energy from that to this, where I'm actually recording this podcast, I've got an hour before I need to go on the school run. I am literally lit up and have so many ideas to share, and I will share them before I need to pick up Amari. What I did was first recognized, okay, my old energy, my old identity is trying to keep me the same. It's trying to keep me from sharing my truth. It's trying to keep me from being the embodiment of the very thing that I'm walking my clients through. So no, that's so misaligned with my values. I'd be out of integrity by allowing that to happen. I'm not going to let it happen. So what am I going to do? I need to get my energy in the best position to bring ideas in. Bearing in mind, at this point, I had 0 ideas to create content, 0 ideas to create a podcast, 0 ideas to even do anything. So I was like, okay, right. So how am I feeling right now? I felt this somatic pattern in my body. And I decided to do a recode, plug my headphones in. I'd already got them recorded, the main beliefs and recodes that I go through with my multi-six-figure mum clients. So I was like, right, this one is where it's at. So I did the recode, literally was crying, had an emotional release, knew that the integration recalibration had taken place. After that, felt so good, then decided to do like a 10-minute somatic dance to get the energy locked in of the higher self, and then came in to share this with you. That is all we need to do. So no, we don't need to keep healing all the time, but we do need to catch ourselves when we are trying to play small because it feels comfortable to do so. Because we can think of 1,000,001 reasons why we should just honor our cycle and just be doing what we're used to doing. But that doesn't feel good. If it feels good, do it. If it doesn't, you know you're out of alignment, which I was. And it's these little broken promises that make us stay the same. And it's why so many of us mums are overwhelmed and we launch our businesses with fire in our belly and then we stall out. It's not because we're broken or because something's missing. It's literally just because we're not catching the micro moments where the fear quietly wins. So, as I've mentioned, manifestation isn't just in the vision boards or the affirmations. And in fact, I don't even think they're really necessary. I think it's more down, well, I know it's down to the daily choices, the tiny actions and the promises that get kept or broken. So, to answer the question, will we always be healing? No. We don't have to heal forever. We don't have to dig for more blocks. But what's happening is this. Every time we expand, our old coding resurfaces. Not because we're broken, but because we're being invited to embody a higher level of truth. And that's the work. It's the embodiment, not the endless fixing. So Think about how many years you've been on this planet and how many of our previous generations we are being influenced by. Like, we hold the codes from 12 generations before us. So all of that scarcity, all of that lack, all of that missed potential, all of the experiences that they encountered are within our DNA. So it's not to say we go and unearth all of them, because I don't believe in going looking for things. But if you're wanting to go from level 10 to level 100, you can either go there, the predictable route, and just keep going with force, with action, with repetition. Or you can get the cheat code book, and whenever something pops up, when a magic mushroom pops up, you can get the cheat code up and you can literally insert that, get what you need to get, clear the mushroom, and level up. That's literally what this work is. We recode the old patterns rapidly so that you can go to the next level. That's how we quantum leap. When we embody the higher level of truth, we let go of the identity, the behaviors, the thoughts, the actions that are no longer serving us. And we do that all in a single session. And then all you have to do is notice when you're being called to slack off again, because then there's another belief or there's something that's causing you to feel comfortable in that mode. And then after I got off the call, I just glanced over to my bedside table, went into my bedroom, and I saw the book, the Bhagavad Gita. So this is sacred text that me and Kyle were gifted at the very start of our relationship. So I've only read literally like 6 pages at this point. So I've done a bit of research into what the book actually teaches, because I thought the fact that I was staring at it made sense. Like there was a meaning behind it. So me and Kyle, we were in London when I was doing my training to go and work in the South Pacific for a year. We'd met maybe like a month prior, and Kyle came to London before I went on my flight to Australia, and he stayed with me the night, and then we were walking back to the train station, and this lady walked over to us and she gave us this book, this new book, Bhagavad Gita. So Kyle kept it while I was away, and we still have it to this day. It literally looks brand new, and I'll put a picture on my stories because I'm going to share the story on there too. And anyway, this was gifted to us at the very start of our relationship, long before I even understood how much it would shape me, because I've not even read it, but now I understand it. And do you know that saying where I think it's something like the teacher appears when the student is ready? That's this situation. So the Gita is set on a battlefield, but it's not really about war. It's about the battle within, the choice between fear and truth. And it teaches that each of us has a unique purpose, our dharma, and that our job is to act in alignment with that purpose without clinging to the outcome. So the only reason, like going back to my client call this morning and what I experience and what all my clients experience, when there is a delay in us receiving the amount of money that we want to receive because we've been putting the work in, everything's in place, the automation's in place, systems are in place, we understand the marketing, we understand who we're speaking to, we're putting in the reps, we're taking the action, everything should land. But when it doesn't, and we start to think, oh, it should be here by now, why is it not? I'm feeling frustrated. That is because we're clinging to the outcome instead of just leaning into service and trust. And for mums, this is such a powerful message, because so many of us grew up seeing our mums sacrifice their dreams and their careers, and we internalize that belief that motherhood means choosing one path over another. But the truth is, when we align our dharma, when we act from truth instead of fear, everything else aligns too. And it's literally giving me shivers, because The success model is about creating our have-it-all life. So choosing ourselves, recoding to the identity of that version. So we can homeschool, world school, travel the world, and be in a divine union with our partner. And that at one point would have seemed whimsical, would have seemed like it's not possible, but it's the same belief system for all of it. And that's the work that we do. All we need to do is align with our truth, act from truth, remove fear, and everything else lands. And the fact that I glanced over at that book, that's the meaning. And here we are having that conversation with my client today with something that I experienced and witnessed in myself through observing my thoughts this week. I just feel like we are so on track. Everything is perfectly aligned, perfectly divine. Everything that you want is already yours. You've just got to clear the belief that is blocking it from landing right now. So, with this said, I do believe mums find manifestation harder because, and again, we had this client conversation with my client this morning. When you think about pre-children, you can take the action that you want, you go to the gym, eat well, all of the things, and it feels easy. It's like you're just driven. When you become a mum, the diet goes to pot, even though it's the point in your life that you want to look your best, you want to eat healthy, you want to take action, you plan on doing it. When the children have gone to bed, you sit there and your mind just literally clocks off because you're putting yourself in that pressure cooker and it's just not landing. And we're just constantly demanded by the external, which pulls our energy in all different directions. And many of us have inherited coding around sacrifice and survival. And we're literally conditioned to keep promises to everyone else before ourselves. And that is what chips away at our self-trust. And that's the very foundation of manifestation. Because if I don't believe me, how can I expect the universe to believe me? If I say tomorrow, I don't want to eat chocolate, I don't want to have a cup of tea because I know that that's my anchor to chocolate, I don't want to eat X, Y, and Z, and then tomorrow I do those things, and then I say, I want to world school in January, I want to do this, I want to live this expansive life, how can I expect the universe to believe me? How can I expect my subconscious mind to think that my words have weight? I can't. And if we can't master ourselves, how the hell can we master the very life that we're working towards? It sounds so simple, but it is simple. We just try and make it so difficult. All we need to do is do what we want to do. And if it becomes difficult, that's when we recode the pattern or the energetic hold that's stopping that action from flowing as easeful as it should. So I want to finish with the truth on quantum leaping in the real world, because there's a lot of noise on social media and I just feel like I honestly wasted so much time trying to figure it out, and it literally just comes down to this. Quantum leaping isn't magic. It's not skipping steps. It's literally just collapsing time by collapsing misalignment. So every single time you feel the fear and you choose the higher path anyway, you align with your higher self. Like me today. I could have done nothing. I could have said, I'm on my cycle, I'm exhausted, let me rest. But I knew that wouldn't have felt good. So I decided to get my energy, clear the block and get my energy into my higher self. And therefore, every time that we keep a promise to ourselves, even if it's tiny, we anchor in our new identity, and that's the leap. The faster you master self, the faster you master reality. So quantum leaping really is about choosing the higher timeline in the moment and trusting that each expanded choice is pulling you onto the higher timeline. So that is your base level. We just have to do that again and again, and your external reality catches up. So yes, it can feel like you're always healing, you're always changing, you're always doing something. But let's get that out of the way. Do what you know you want to do, and there you are. You're literally in your highest timeline. It gets to be as simple as that. So I'm sharing this with you because I'm doing it right now. It does feel uncomfortable at first because you just want to do nothing. You want to just do what you're used to doing. But then the moment that you have done it, you can be proud of yourself and know that you are on the other side. You've just mastered yourself, and if you can master yourself, you can master your massive, expansive life that is so destined for you, and you're already taking action to get it. So if you've been telling yourself that you're stuck or that you're broken because old patterns keep showing up, just know that you're not broken. You're literally just being invited to embody your truth. Your dream life isn't waiting in the future. It's created in the micro moments where you choose truth over fear. Have we got that clear? And the moment that you become the woman who keeps her word, who trusts herself and acts as her higher self now, that's when the manifestation stops being theory and becomes your reality. I'm going to say it again, because the faster you master yourself, the faster you master reality. So I'm going to leave it there. I hope that's been helpful. I hope this has been the soft kick. I don't even like saying that. No. Cancel, alt, delete that. I hope this has been a nice little pep talk, because I needed this last year when I was trying everything and I was getting great results, but they weren't consistent, and I couldn't get out of my own way. I was looking into strategy, I was looking into working with new coaches, I was looking into reading books, thinking there's something I've missed. No, honey, the thing that you've missed is actually doing what you know you should be doing. And stop thinking that you are procrastinating or that you are just overwhelmed and burnt out. You're only doing that because the energy is misaligned. You're not the energy is not being used. It's just sat there collecting, just gathering more information, but not really doing anything with it. And yes, you could argue that there was fears that I needed to clear, the fear of judgment, the fear of being seen, all the money beliefs that I had. And oh gosh, there's been so many. In fact, I'm going to do a post on all of the beliefs that I've cleared to date and the ones that I clear with my clients, because each belief that we recode really does unearth a new version of us, and it makes taking the action and seeing things from this higher perspective so much easier. So anyway, I'm going to love and leave you, and I'll see you in next week's episode.